What's up, y'all? So, as you guys are probably aware, Herald of Ice is the best clear in the game right now, and it's used in almost every attack build that exists, which is kind of boring. Every build is just a Herald of Ice build. So, naturally, I was expecting it to get nerfed a little bit with the announcement on Sunday. Not only that, but freezing is not that easy for me without 3 dragons, so it'd be nice to ditch that requirement. And so, this is a quick video on what I came up with. It's Cast on Shock Voltaic Mark. So, Voltaic Mark, what is that? So the way it works is that you mark a target, then you'll increase your shock chance and shock effect against that target, and then it creates a nova on death, and that's what we care about. But it costs mana and it needs to be cast, so I need to automate it with cast on shock. So the current setup that I've been playing around with, and I'm not even certain if this is correct, is cast on shock, voltaic mark, with inspiration for mana costs, mag effect for the AoE, and then impetus and energy retention just to generate more cost on shocks with more energy. And then I'm shocking with explosive shot, and it has coursing current and conduction just to generate more shocks. And this is just shock proliferation. And then you have spreading shocks, which is even more shock proliferation. And so I'm dropping Herald of Ice and Herald of Ash and picking up cost on shock. So you need 30 extra spirit. And then if you can get another 30 spirit, you can use overwhelming presence. And this thing owns for shocking and stunning. And then the final piece is mana gain on kill. This thing costs a lot of mana, so you need mana gain on kill. I get it on my crossbow, but it's also available on sapphire jewels. So what do? You get these juicy chaining explosions without having to mess around with freeze and without having to risk getting Herald of Ice nerfed on you. And so once you get that first cost on shock, once the voltaic mark goes out, those voltaic mark novas, those explosions, they will fully recharge cost on shock and just cost a bunch of marks, and it just pops off with enough density. It's not as good as Herald of Ice, but it's pretty easy to pull off, and I think you can fit it into a lot of different builds. And one major upside is the Herald of Thunder uptime. So as you can see at the top of the screen, Herald of Thunder is always up, and it hits really hard, so it helps your damage a lot. And I say this all the time, but I'm going to say it one more time. This may not be the best setup. Maybe you guys can figure out something way better than what I got going on here. And here's a demo of me trying it without Herald of Thunder. It's kind of weird. It spends all the mana, but it does a lot more marks, a lot more explosions. Maybe you can make it work. And so what I'm looking at trying next is Freezing Mark, or Herald of Ice, or 3 Dragons, or a combination of all of those things with the cost on shock setup. But that's not happening until I get some gear equipped to my character. And I'll end it with a quick boss kill using the Siege Cascade setup from my previous video. With Electrocute support, it doesn't shock, so it doesn't burn your mana pool. Without that, you might want to disable cost on shock for the boss. Thanks for watching, you guys. Adios.